Hi, everyone, and welcome to this edition of the Spartan Sports Report. And Sam and I are happy to have as our guest tonight. He's here kind of often, which we're very pleased to say that Brent Duncan, Athletic Director of CHS, joins us tonight. Thanks for coming.
Absolutely. Glad to be back. It's been a couple weeks since I've been here, so.
He could just maybe do this on his own some night. We could take
that
the
would be
night
a good
off.
idea. All right. Put us
I'll
on
let
vacation.
you guys handle that.
Pretty good weekend.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a basketball
Wore
fan,
Sam out.
some good ball games.
Yeah.
You know, the girls had a little rough road to hoe in the afternoon, but boys played well on Saturday night. And unfortunately, ended up on the short end of the stick a little bit. And then, of course, Friday night was a little visit down the road to the west. So
Right.
Going in, it's always a tough place to come out with the win. So it was split the weekend. So we're still young and learning, and at least on the boys' side. So got a lot of inexperienced varsity kids playing right now.
Spartans lost by a point on Saturday night. You being a coach, what do you tell the kids in the locker room after a game like that?
Well, I don't know. I think so many of the fans look at the end of the game, and I think as a coach, you got to look at the things we did along the way.
Mm-hmm.
And just I'm sure as Coach Brown's looking, there are a lot of unforced errors on our part, and a couple of missed easy shots, and sometimes we didn't get back. So it's all those little things that add up to that one point. It's not just what happened in the last 3 minutes in the overtime, but the last 4 minutes of the overtime and the 3 minutes of the ball game. But just try to work on the things that you need to work on to control that you have the ability to control, not turning the ball over, taking care of the ball, not throwing away.
Yes.
So those things add up, which people forget happened in quarter one that cost you that one bucket that helps you out in the end. So, but they're, like I said, they're inexperienced. With the kids back, we have three that have just a little bit of varsity experience, or outside of Noah, who played for the last 3 years. But Jacob Brown's only got a little bit. Clay Garrison's got a little bit. Jonah Graham kind of got in towards the end of the season. After that,
Right.
we're pretty young at the varsity level as far as the experience goes. So.
It was a good team we played.
Yeah, I mean, they took Columbus North to overtime the night before, if I remember right, and that Kuhn kid is the real deal. He had 13 of the first 14 points, and some of those were, I think he shot the one from the volleyball line and went down in and out and came back out, but he's going to West Point in Division I basketball for a reason.
School's leading scorer now. They presented him with that.
Yeah, and I think he's still got about 20 more games to go this year, so he's got a chance to stretch that. It was 1,380 some points or something like 1,308 or 1,380, but...
The Williams boy was impressive as well, I thought. Josh Williams.
Yeah, hit the big bucket in the overtime that gave him the win, but definitely a little more foot speed than we had. I'm sure Coach Brown's discussed it. Somebody needed to make him turn his direction just once there on that last dribble, but those are things that the kids have got to learn to do, and with time and some experience, those things will take place. So,
Well, I think the pieces are there.
yeah, it's different. I don't think people realize, as our kids come up through the elementary school and the middle school, and they win a lot of ball games, but they're playing kids that their own age. And then when you get to the high school level, some of our younger kids are now playing kids that are 19 years old almost, and some of them are pushing 20 based on the rules. And it's a different jump. It's a different speed. It's a different level. And going from JV to varsity is even another step quicker. So you have to learn all those little things that you used to be able to do, you cannot do anymore. So it takes some time and some adjustment to play there, but we'll get there.
Sam, the girls went to Greensburg, played a pretty strong team at Greensburg.
Very, very strong team down there, and that's a young team. They had a lot of sophomores on that team. Pretty impressive, nice size, and they're going to be a team we're going to have to look out for the next couple of years because, and they just came off of being 3A runners-up last year, so a good fundamental basketball team. And our girls never gave up. They played hard, but just a little more talent, I would have to say, on the Greensburg team at this time.
Yes.
A little more foot speed from the guards, too. They were a little quick. I was impressed with the two sophomore guards, and, of course, they had the 6'1" sophomore, big girl inside. But they were really good as JV players last year. So.
Sports this week at CHS. Tuesday, the boys' freshman basketball will be at Newcastle. The ladies' Spartans basketball with Newcastle at Spartan Bowl. And swimming's at Richmond. Our freshman team doing well, aren't they?
Yeah, I think right now they're 3-1. Took took a loss at Lawrenceburg by 6, I think. Coach said they didn't play extremely well, but still hung in there. And then I obviously got a big win at Shelbyville on Saturday night, the last second three-pointer by Rudy Brandstatter to put him over the top so we get a 2-point win. So exciting ball game. I stuck my head over there to watch the end of that one after our JV was up rather large at the end of the third quarter, and I came back to my surprise, and Shelbyville was making a little run at us. So, but yeah, they're doing well, 3-1, and then of course JV's 4-0. So
Yes, can't ask for any more.
you know, and varsity's 2-2, which has been two pretty good losses in the big. When you think of losses, it's not.
Yes.
So
Quality.
we've been right there in both cases to have a chance to win. So
Right. On Wednesday, it'll be wrestling home with South Dearborn at the CHS gym. On Thursday, swimming at Centerville. Boys freshman basketball at Cambridge City. On Saturday, kind of a big day, wrestling at the Super 5, and that's at Rushville.
yes,
Okay, good. Swimming at East Central, Lady Spartans basketball with Lawrenceburg at Spartan Bowl. JV game at noon. Varsity follows. Boys freshman basketball with Pendleton Heights. Spartan Arena at 6 o'clock. Boys basketball with Pendleton Heights. JV game at 6, and the varsity follows at Spartan Bowl. You want to talk about you can get in if you bring a toy? If Sam and I bring a
Yeah.
toy, can we get in?
well, you sure can. You can bring it. You're going to get in whether you bring a toy or not. But Saturday during the girls' game, if you bring a new unwrapped toy, it'll be our Toys for Kids game. You'll go get a free admission to the game.
Good.
So if you have 5 people and you bring 5 new unwrapped toys, each of you get into the game free, and then we'll duplicate that again at the boys' game that night with Pendleton Heights. So unfortunately, the one that gets you in the girls' game is not going to get you into the boys' game as well, so you have to bring a second one to get into the boys' game.
Dave and I have challenged our listeners. Last several years, we've been at right around 250 toys.
Yeah.
We've challenged our
That's
listeners.
great.
We want 300 toys. Also, between now and Friday, for anybody that can't come to the game or doesn't want to come to the game, but they still want to donate a toy, call 825-6411, and either Dave and I will come, and one of us or both of us will come and pick that up.
That's awesome. That's outstanding.
nice.
So, and we've communicated with Lawrenceburg as well, and they've put that out for their fans, and we've also talked with Pendleton Heights, and they're trying to spread the word to their fans as well, is to bring gifts for those that need them at Christmas time for the
that's
kids
great.
that don't have them. So
Yeah, that's nice.
hopefully we'll get more than 300, maybe we'll
Yeah,
get the
I hope
500
so.
number. That'd be great. So
Yeah.
maybe Sam will take you out for dinner if you get to 500.
Middle school sports, Monday, boys' white basketball team is playing at Sunman Dearborn. On Tuesday, the boys' red team meets Sunman Dearborn at Spartan Arena at 6. On Wednesday, the white team meets Cambridge City Lincoln at 6 p.m. in the Spartan Arena. Middle school team's doing well.
Yeah, they're
7th and
doing
8th
well
graders.
so far,
Yeah.
you know. Our coaches down there have done a good job, and of course the girls are going to get ready to start up here pretty quick for the middle school. And it's that scary thing, you know. There's a lot of potential down there, but potential has some hazards to it. It's, you still got to put the time and you still got to put the work in, and
Sure.
to make that potential become better. So hopefully they'll see the light, and the coaches will continue to do a good job, and the kids that are involved will step up as the summertime comes along and put some extra work in and try to keep improving themselves. You always hate to have that potential, and the potential stops at the word potential. It doesn't
Yes.
get to your full
Right.
talent. So it takes a little bit of work, takes a little bit of effort, takes a little dedication. So hopefully they'll find that inside themselves and put those time in, not just to basketball, but to every sport. You know, there's a lot of kids who just want to be one sport athletes, and we still need multiple sport athletes. So hopefully they'll play more than one thing. So.
It's a good feeder program at middle school.
Yeah, Coach Brown's had a long time to get the program started.
Yes.
You know, the Dirt Road Basketball League comes up to the 7th and 8th grade, and then we have an A and a B team, or a red and a white team, whichever you want to call it. And then we get down to one team as a freshman, and it's always a challenge. You know, the next year, as I've always said as a coach, it only takes 3 to 4 kids per class to make a good basketball team. So it's a little internal competition, and a little work ethic, and a little fight doesn't always hurt to have you trying to make yourself better consistently.
Sure.
But things are going well for Coach Brown and the boys basketball team.
I think so, yeah.
And just because kids are on the white team doesn't mean they won't excel in high school, because we've had that in the past, because they develop later. Some do.
Sure, you know, J.B. Showalter, I'll go back to that day. He was a white team player. Todd Barrett was a white team player forever and was the only senior left by the time he was a senior as a starting point guard. You know, J.B. was tall and gangly, and they ended up being 6'9". So some things just happen. Some kids grow faster, some
Sure.
kids mature more, and you'll have kids that'll come in as freshmen at 5'10", and they'll graduate as seniors at 5'10". You'll have that little kid that comes in at 5'6", and he's 6'4" by the time he gets out here. So it's all about how much you want to put into it where you're going to end yourself. It doesn't matter where you are now; it's where you're going to be in 4 years from now, or the next year, or where you're going to put your time in. So,
Well, I think Spartan fans really appreciate the program that you guys run. Mr. Liggett at the middle school does a good job as the athletic director, and then you have a good secretary that keeps you on the ball. So
always, but we appreciate that. I think we all work hard at what we do.
yes,
And
I think so. It shows.
it's all about the kids. Just by far giving them the best opportunities to be around people that are caring and trustworthy and empathetic, and teach them about what giving back is. As you saw this weekend, if you follow Twitter, the swim team was out ringing the bell for the Salvation Army. So anytime we get our kids to give those things back, that's great.
Yeah, it's great. Records for area girls basketball teams. Richmond is 1-7. They lost at Rushville 55-44. They'll be at Franklin County on Tuesday. Cambridge City is 5-3. They had a 52-10 win over Union Modoc, and they'll be at National Trail in Ohio Tuesday and at Winchester on Saturday. Centerville is 2-7. They lost at Northeastern 40-25. They go to Union City on Wednesday. Rushville is 5-3. They lost to Westfield 49-45. They'll be at Greensburg on Saturday. Franklin County is 3-5. They lost 57-46 at Shelbyville. They'll be home with Richmond on Tuesday and at South Ripley on Saturday. Union County 7-2. They lost to the Spartans 44-25 and to Morristown 57-52 at Hagerstown Wednesday and at Talawanda, Ohio on Saturday. And those two losses are the first ones for Union County.
Back
they
to
were
back.
7-0 before those two games with the Spartans and everything. Area boys basketball records. Rushville is 0-2 after losing to the Spartans 43-42. They play at Franklin County on Friday and at Blue River on Saturday. Cambridge City is 2-2, winning 98-42 over Union Modoc. They're home Wednesday with Anderson Prep Academy, home with Knightstown on Friday. Centerville is 0-3. The Bulldogs lost at Franklin County 55-50 in overtime. They'll be at Randolph Southern on Friday. Richmond is 1-2. They lost to Indianapolis North Central 60-51 Friday. They lost Saturday at East Central 57-51. They're home with Marion on Friday. Union County 1-2. They won at Knightstown 58-55. They'll be at Hagerstown on Friday. Franklin County is 1-2. As we mentioned, they won 55-50 overtime over Centerville. They're home Friday with Rushville and the South Dearborn on Saturday. So that kind of brings us up to date on the girls and boys records.
Yeah, it's hard to believe that we're already in December. So it seems like we just started school, but it's just going to keep rolling. Before you know it, the Classic will be here, and we'll be in the gym watching wrestling. So,
What do you know about Pendleton Heights?
well, I know we owe them one because they got us in overtime last year, but they run it's just kind of like our program. It's consistently solid, fundamentally sound.
Yes.
They're going to come in, and we're going to play also the freshmen that night as well in the arena at 6 o'clock. And I'm sure it'll be 3 good basketball games on that night.
They are 2-2 right now, and they have a game at Mount Vernon on Friday. The Spartans are off Friday, but they're playing.
Well, let's hope they have a dogfight on Friday, and some of their legs are gone on Saturday. So we have a rare Friday night off. But you know,
they won over Westfield 51-47 and LaPel 57-53. They lost to Anderson 65-63 and to Carmel 53-31. Their defensive average is 54.5, and that's what the Spartans' offensive average is.
I'm surprised they're up that high because that's typically not Coach Brown's style. But,
True, right.
Like I said, they're going to come in and be as disciplined as we are, and they're going to try to control the game. And they've had a lot of good shooters in the past 3 or 4 years. And we've always seemed to have a tough battle with them. It doesn't matter how many years ago it is or where it's at today. It seems to be the same. As you know, last year it's a loss in overtime, and they got the tip and held the ball for 4 minutes. Whether they actually made the shot or didn't make the shot.
After the buzzer.
It did. I'll have to agree with that one. So.
Even their people at the scorer's table thought so.
Well, the video shows the ball clearly in hand with his feet solidly on the ground, and the lights are already off on the backboard, and you still got to travel 19 feet 6 to get to the goal before it went in. So it was definitely a little bit after. But don't have instant replay, and you can't argue the officials. But and hopefully Saturday morning, they got the girls playing the Lawrenceburg Tigers, and they're going to bring in a solid team. They're a big girl inside, and their guard's really quick, and they're strong, and hopefully the Lady Spartans will get a bounce back and get a chance to even their record at 4-4 and go 1-1 in the conference with the loss to Greensburg. Maybe we'll knock off Lawrenceburg, who's probably the second or third best team talent-wise in the conference. East Central is just going to be big again, as they typically are.
Yes.
But
Meantime, girls play Newcastle at the Bowl tomorrow night, too.
yeah, it'd be nice to knock
Usually-
off the Trojans.
Yeah, it would be. Usually a pretty good game with them. I think looking at their record, they've got a couple, 3 or 4 losses maybe as well. So might be a good game. Should be.
Coach Thompson talked to me a little bit today. He thought it'd be a good basketball game. Thought we had a good shot at winning. And, they've had a couple teams in the past that some of the volleyball players are playing that are 6'3" and 6'1". It might make a difference, but they're strictly all volleyball. So good for us, bad for them.
Right.
But, and then wrestlers got to meet on Wednesday, and they're off to a pretty good start. I know their record's 5-8, but we went 1-4 in the first weekend playing in the Richmond or the Indianapolis area tournament. And since that time, we've played fairly well, wrestled fairly well. We just need a few more guys to fill in some of our weight classes so we don't have to give up matches as forfeits. It costs you 6 points every time you forfeit a match. So makes it tough sometimes to overcome. So
Absolutely.
But we got South Dearborn here on Wednesday, and we'll see what we got again. So swimming are both 3-0, so can't argue about the swim program right now.
No, those kids look good.
We'll get a little test at, tomorrow night at Richmond. I'm sure will be solid, but I know
Yes.
Saturday when we go to the East Central. East Central's always strong in swimming, and we'll get a chance to see where we stack up against them a little bit. So.
Right. In the boys' conference standings, Greensburg is 2-0. The Spartans and Spartans and Lawrenceburg are 1-0. Rushville, Franklin County, South Dearborn, and Batesville are 0-1. East Central has yet to play a conference game. So it's early, I know, but I thought we might let the
Well, you never know. And of course, East Central doesn't schedule many conference games up at the beginning just because of the success of football in the past. So they kind of bounce that back a little bit. Now, I know they've played, their opening game is pretty close to Greensburg typically, but they might play Greensburg twice, and if they play them twice, it's always the second game that counts in this conference standing. So good, better, and different. I personally think it should be the first game, but that's not my choice, because that way you have the chance to scout them and rethink how you're going to play them for the second go-around. For all of us that only play them once, first time is the first time. So
I still say they ought to expand their schedule and quit this home and home thing that they've done for years. Of course, they used to, before Rushville and Connersville became part of the conference, they used to play each other twice, and it counted for conference standings.
Correct.
But I don't know. It's the old thing I've always said. It's kind of like kissing your sister. If you play them twice, which there's nothing wrong with kissing your sister, but
there's been some chalk, and the volleyball coaches this year want to go. They've played home and home as well, but the IHSA has reduced the number of volleyball games you can play by 2 next year. So all the volleyball coaches in the conference are okay to stop playing home and home. So next year we will not play home and home. You can if you'd like, but they want the first game to count. So the angst between them and basketball is basketball still wants the second one, and volleyball wants the first one, and the conference ADs think it should be consistent. But, and they're right. They think they should count the first one, because if we don't play them twice, it's not fair for the teams that do play them twice to get the opportunity to see how they play the first time and make adjustments for the game that counts in the conference. And so maybe those will change as maybe basketball and us will get them all changed the first time. But sometimes that just makes tweaks in your schedule, so we'll see.
Yeah, athletics directors meet very often with...
Yeah, we meet about every other month in the conference and hash things out. And we're all in charge of certain sports to bring in their concerns and whatnot. So when the volleyball coaches have concerns, they bring them to me, then I take them to the conference and we discuss them, and I send them back out to the volleyball coaches what our answers are. So I took the last sport that was available, because the year we did it, we were in charge of the conference. So I told them I'd take whatever was last, and last was volleyball. So I let everybody else pick what they wanted first. So that's all right, though.
Where do you meet?
Typically we meet at Cricket Ridge, which is just south of Oldenburg, between Oldenburg and Batesville. So a little golf course. We don't go play golf, but
Kind of a central
have lunch
location for all of
Well, I'm sure it was really central before us in Rushville got in there, but not quite as central for all of us right now. But it's not a bad little drive. It's just that last 9 miles down 229 to get from 52 to Oldenburg.
You can hardly get there from here, right?
Yeah, if you don't know where the sign's at, you won't see it, because it's only about a 2x3 sign that says Cricket Ridge. So, but
pretty down in there though.
Yeah, especially depending on the time of year you're driving.
Yeah.
So, and you can't go very fast, so you definitely get to see all the sides, but you can't take your eyes off the road too long, or you'll be in the ditch. So,
Anything out of the IHSA office that we should know about?
no, everything's moving smooth. They'll be doing the realignments in April, and once they get all the numbers and set the committees, are starting to be set. So,
Speaking of realignments, if a school decided to play up, do they have to play up in all classes? I mean, in all sports, or can they pick the sport they want to play up in?
that's a good question. We'll find out the answer to that one.
It's my personal opinion.
I think it's probably could be by sport.
My personal opinion, I'd like to see the Spartan boys team stay in 4A and not drop to 3A.
I don't know what we'll do once we get there. If we drop, which is, I don't know if there's a good chance or not. Our numbers are down.
We're close. Right?
Probably 100 from the last time we took. 2 years ago, we're probably 100 less students. We're probably actually less than that since the count day went in, but we'll see. So I know in baseball we've been 4A, and softball we've been 3A. So we've been in different classes. Of course, boys and girls soccer and 3A for the boys and 2A for the girls, and that's based on there's not as many girls teams out there that have schools that have soccer, so the cut lines are different. But I know there are schools that opt to play up and stay up, so I don't know if it has to be all of them. I would say probably sport by sport basis.
Okay. Some people may think I'm crazy, but I just think
I don't know if there's a big difference between the 4A title and the 3A title or the teams that you're going to play. When you're at the top of the 4A or the top of the 3A, they're still all talented.
still very good.
So, we're kind of in that bubble area.
We play 3A teams, quite a few.
Yeah, a lot of
Rushville,
our-
Franklin County.
All of our, for the most part, most of our conference is 3A besides us at East Central
Right.
in basketball. And then just trying to think down the road who we play. Centerville's actually probably 2A, but we're not playing them this year. North Central's 4A. Lawrence North is going to be 4A.
Right.
Shelbyville's 4A. New Pal's 4A.
Pendleton.
And New Pal's, 4A.
Mount Vernon.
Richmond's 4A. Mount Vernon's 4A. Pendleton's 4A. Not too many 3As on the schedule overall other than outside of our conference people.
Right.
So,
Yes.
but that's all right. To beat the best, you got to play the best. So.
Exactly.
So that would take effect next school year?
Next school year,
Okay.
1920s, when the new alignments will come out and the reclassifications for all the sports except for baseball and softball will happen in April. And then baseball and softball won't take place until next August once the tournament's over to see if there's any success factors. So then they can realign the sectionals and all that fit appropriately. So
Do you think success factor penalizes underclassmen? Because you could have an all-senior team and win the state championship, move up because of success factor, and then come back next year and just have sophomores.
well, you got to accumulate so many points. So if you
Okay.
don't accumulate that amount of points in 2 years, then it doesn't affect you. But it could if you had a couple solid classes. For instance, East Central won the state final 2 years ago. Could have went back and won it this year. They would have bumped up. Now, whether there'd been somebody behind them in football to take their place, as good as those that are left,
Maybe
could
not.
be, could not be. Then for 2 years you're in that class until the next alignment comes back out. So
What's the theory behind the bumping up? I don't understand that. Why?
just trying to balance those that seem to win all the time.
Okay.
So, Cathedral probably is only a 4A school size-wise, maybe only 3A, but they're playing in the 5A and 6A. Probably 5A football if I had to guess right now without going back and look. So just trying to balance the playing field with those, I can't say parochial schools that tend to see have better records certain times.
Sometimes.
So
Speaking of football, were you at the finals and did you have a job?
I was at the finals.
Okay.
It was really some really good football games. There was a couple that,
Yes.
the single A game was 60-0. You hard to imagine you beat the runner-up in the state 60-0, but the young man that's going to Notre Dame, he's the real deal. So whether he'll make it as a quarterback or I think he'll be a DB once he gets to college, but he was the real thing. Yeah, I was. First day I handed out the winners' medals to a couple of teams. I'm on the runner-up medals, and the next day I was going to read the mental attitude award winner, but I kind of had a sore throat and hate to say nasal sound, so I didn't want to get on the mic and all of a sudden have to cough. So I just stuck with handing out the medals on Saturday night as well. So
Oh, very good. That's great to have you. How's the mental attitude award decided? Who does that?
well, each school that's in the finals can nominate one kid from their
okay.
school. And then all the executive committee members that are there read through each of the day of, read through their bios.
Mm-hmm.
And then we pick which one we think's the best, and then whichever one gets the most votes is the one who wins.
Okay.
So I've always thought over the years that it always seemed to go to the team that's on the losing team because it seems it works that way so many times. They tell me it's not, but it sure seems like it.
It seemed, yeah, over the years, I know with basketball it seems that way.
And that's not how it's done, but I found it funny that this state finals, everybody who wore white on the football team on Friday and Saturday won the state title. They all had their options. They flipped a coin to see who could pick home or away, and two of them flipped so they could wear the white team instead of the uniform. That's all the teams who wore white won on Friday and Saturday. So I don't think that probably happens very often either. But just kind of a little unique observation from our side up there. But
Lucas Oil holds a lot of people, but how was the attendance?
I think they said for the 2 days they were 40,000 plus.
Gee,
So
that's great.
they had 22,000 the first day, and I think they did finally get over the 40,000 on the second. First day we had the bigger schools.
Right.
We had the 2, the
2,
4,
4,
the
and
6,
6,
and then
yes.
the 1, 3, and 5 were the next day. But
Mm-hmm.
I think they cracked the 40,000 in attendance for the 2 days. So they were pleased, and it was the largest crowd they had in 4 years, they said. So
That's great.
I don't know if it's just a combination of teams that are there or excitement, but there's a lot of fans there in certain schools. Had a lot. So.
Exciting day.
Yeah, it was pretty good. I actually saw a 6'6", 230-pound kid do a round-off back handspring with his uniform on, his football pads, and I was like, we need a few of those. So, I was pretty impressed.
Wow.
Does he have a brother or something you could recruit?
Oh, he says in Evansville, so it'd be a long way away. So, but pretty good athlete.
Yeah, to make it to the finals in high school football would be quite an achievement, I would think.
Yeah, I think sometimes as one guy who's the AD at North Vermilion's also on the board with us, he says, sometimes it's just harder for us to get out of our sectional base who they play down in their area, and then if you get the right draw,
Sure.
you can get there. But sometimes just getting out of your own sectional is the toughest part. So,
Mm-hmm.
but there's a lot of quality football teams there this weekend. Just watching
Yes.
them play. I know some of the scores were more lopsided than others, but in the last 5A game was 28-14 with New Pal. New Pal blown most everybody out all year, and even though it was 14 points, it was still a solid football game between them. And can't think who they were playing at that time, but in the Evansville Central game, and they went 4 overtimes at 0-0 at the end of the
Yes.
regulation. So
Yes.
it was just a knockdown, drag out all day long. So they were good football.
How long's an overtime last in football?
Well, you get the ball on the 10-yard line. You get 4 downs
okay.
to score, kick a field goal,
It's
or
not a
lose
time
down,
thing.
and then the other team gets a chance to tie. And if you're still tied, you go do it again until somebody wins. So, and then the third overtime, they each scored a touchdown or each kicked a field goal or whichever one it was. And then the next one they both got a touchdown. Then finally the Evansville Central got beat. Had their chances to win, but Evansville Central was AD, or not their AD, but Evansville Memorial was there as well, I think. And their AD used to be at South Dearborn. Got to see some old coaches. Coach Spencer was there. And,
Yeah.
Coach O'Shea was actually my high school coach. They're honoring coaches that had been there and passed as winners in the state finals on both Friday and Saturday. So it's kind of neat to see Coach Spencer again. I coached with him at Tell City in my first job, so many years ago.
Quite a gentleman, I thought.
Still is. He's still just as polite and nice as he always is. And so it was good to see him.
It's quite an experience, I'll bet, for you.
Yeah, anytime you get a chance to go and work some of those. And
Sure.
I know in the wintertime I'm going to do the basketball program. I'm also doing the gymnastics. And I think that's because everybody knows that I know things about gymnastics. So the other guys go, what's gymnastics? And so I'll get to be there. Hopefully we'll get to hang some medals on some of our girls. So
Oh,
That'd be great.
that'd be the best feeling. It was kind of nice.
Yes.
I'm sure as the North Vermilion AD, even though his team didn't win, he's hanging the runner-up medals on his own kids, which would be a good thing to
Yes.
experience. So.
Somebody you could call by name as you went down. And
Well, I did New
congratulate
Pal
them.
with Chris Conley. Chris Conley's the AD at Delta. He and I did New Pal just because Delta and New Pal's in the same conference, and I know Al real well. So we picked which teams we kind of want to give if you kind of got a tie. I handed out to Eastbrook because they were in the county that I went to school in. So, but
Brent, thanks a lot for joining us here tonight. You brought us a lot of information, and everybody come out and root for the Spartans this week at Spartan Bowl, and good evening.
bring a toy
Pardon?
and bring a toy.
Okay. Thanks everybody for watching this edition of the Spartan Sports Report. Good evening.